I'd hate to.
All right, Dean Marris, welcome. Hey, look, appreciate your time. Yeah, it's been 6 months since we caught up, and I had a bit of a chat in Hong Kong with some other YPO facilitators. So tell us, in 6 months, what's changed in the AI world?
Yeah, well, and in my world too. So I'd love to see you, Fletch. Um, we've done a startup. So my twin bro and I have done another startup. And it's interesting because it was a classic example of a good friend of mine who's got a wonderful product, but didn't know how to adopt and use the AI. And it's a cool little product out of Christchurch called CO, and they're all about saving lives and limbs using CCTV cameras and AI, and also reimagining what they call workflow. But what was interesting was they got to a point where they just didn't know how to adopt the AI. So when I last talked to you about at Fletch was some of this agentic framework, and
Yep.
2025 is going to be the year of agents, right? So agents are things that I was my simplest way of saying it, if you talk about a multi-agents, is the specialist uh, AI assistants that can think, they are autonomous, they can get reinforced with special tooling and get up to nearly a PhD standard. Now, some of the new models come out, so literally in the last week or so, have are getting to an incredibly good standard. So if you put yourself in the mind of, say, an educator, and you're thinking about, I need to put some content together, and these multi-agents, and some of the things that are so powerful about them is you make them quite specialist. So when I talk about the startup, we're looking at it and going, well, the sort of rule of thumb that we've always looked at is you have like six agents are really good that talk and do. So one agent is looking and doing something. So it's looking at video camera and interpreting it. That's called a multimodal model. So it's looking at unstructured video, text, what just happened in the video. So that's unstructured text, and they can look at it and go, hey, this is what happened. Um, and then and interpret it, and it can go to another one. Now it's I think of the educator one, right? So now we're doing standard operating procedures. So now it's looking at the standard operating procedures of safety, and it's what they called in an AI world, they call it RAG. So they'll get that whole standard operating procedure and they'll vectorize it. So they'll put it into little tokens and numbers and the closest neighbors, they call it. And you can then ask the question, hey, where in this video did we go wrong according to the standard operating procedure? So in natural language, what would I recommend? So think again in the educated world, you've now got documentation that's been put into this RAG format, and you can ask really, really intelligent questions about whatever it is. And these are getting into, like, again, PhD standard. And then when you combine it where one agent can talk to another agent and then pass it on and go, oh, this one should be going, hey, well, let's do something about it. Let's coach. So in our product, in the CO product, I've come in with my product hat on and gone, right, let's design this whole product with agents and AI first, product second. Completely. This is like when Linux started in 2004, and we were in 2003 or four when it started. We were like, I think it was 18 months in, and we looked at it and went, geez, this is where we should go, scalable, blah, blah, blah. I feel we're in an amazing position right now where people are going to look at how could AI solve, and then you look at the product. So we first of all went, this is a great agentic opportunity because we need to educate our customers, right? So now we go, if we design this with multi-agents and the modules, and we have a problem with a forklift and a person too close, which is what we're trying to do in distribution centers, we need to coach that person. So we need like a coaching module. So why don't we have an agent that can grab this information, then then set it up so that it goes to the sort of the educator and the coach and go, hey, what is it going against the standard operating procedure? Or these are the three things you should do. Now the person's an educator, coach, and they are going, I've got all these videos to to review, and I need to put into it. I've got to set up coaching, for what we call a toolbox session. And now you've got three or four agents doing it for you. You like three or four humans doing it for you at a PhD understanding and quality. And so that scales like crazy. So this is what we've been doing is we're going to be able to say to our customers, hey, you're going to have like 30 people inside this application that are really agents that are going to be able to help you and make you look good. So, I think about, on that again, we'll go back to the education side of things. These these AI assistants are going to make you look good. And also, the thing that I always say, and we'll put it in this application, is the no joy jobs. Remember, they do something. They're an action, so they do something. So
Yep.
they help you do something. You could push, I've got an event. Should I push into the coaching toolbox module? Yes, I should. Now, should I annotate over and describe it? Yes, I should. That's another agent. And all of this is happening for you in the background. And so now you're focused on the content and delivery and making sure that the person, has completed the actual education. Again, it's another agent checking that. So this whole setup, so like I said, the last 6 months, this whole setup of a system where you design it with AI first, and then you think about now what we're solving for is quite a different mindset.
Yep.
I literally got off the phone where we've got a UI UX design and the whole thing, and every single page has got an AI assistant. It's called Ask SEO, and each module will have its own specialized thing. So I think about it from if I was ever doing on training people on modules and things, we've got to think about what we're doing. And these are agents. In the last few, weeks, OpenAI, Claude, and those guys, they're giving us tools, us low code tools that allow you to build these assistants. I don't really like the word agent. Like I think of the
Yep.
word assistants,
Yep.
multi-assistants. I just think it's a better word.
Yeah, it's a great
Um,
word.
yeah, that that now have memory. So now the new thing that's come out since you and I talked, short-term and long-term memory. So you're in a session, you've got an assistant that knows your background, knows you extremely well. And let's say you are looking at lecturing. I did a lecture a couple of weeks ago in an MBA class, and I completely used an agent or an assistant to design. I used beautiful.ai. I used completely AI to come up with my slides, and I used an assistant that knew my background. I've got the Harvard background, and I wanted to bring and draw some of that knowledge. So I grabbed some of my data that I've already got stored, and that's what I called RAG. Remember, it's vectorized information, so it means a large language model can grab that information and please summarize it. So natural. Hey, summarize the key content. I need to present to a MBA class, talk about my entrepreneurial journey, and I need to also talk about AI. Boom. And it came up with beautiful bullet point. Oh, please make it bullet point. I need to make it professional. These people are 28 to 34, so I need it in that language.
Yep.
But educated, and it does it. And that's the beauty about putting something together using AI. So I'm looking every day, every day now, like it literally we're in the company I'm working for now is with eRoad, Chief Data Science Officer thing. Um, all we're doing is thinking about how can we build assistance throughout the whole organization and everything we
Right.
do. So it's amazing. It's amazing, Bliss, how much this has changed. And I've always said, I think I said the last one, 2025 with the year of the agents, absolutely is the year of the agents. It is absolutely doing that. What will happen? So we're not going to be, I think the AGI, so artificial general intelligence, where it can now it goes way above the level of an assistant. It's literally it can think, it can reinforce, it does that, but it can now act and move, and I mean, it's literally it could essentially survive nearly on its own, and that's the sort of this AGI stuff is it was going to be 6, 7, 8 years away. I think it's going to be within 3 years.
And so, what about ethics then? So,
Yeah,
how do you feel? I mean, how do you feel? So, you had Stanford. Was it at Stanford? You were delivering this
it's Harvard. Yeah.
Harvard. Yeah.
Hmm.
So Harvard. Did you feel like, well, it's not my work, or is it? It is my work. How do
Yeah,
you?
that's a great question. Um, it because what it does, I mean, when you think ethically, it's you've given it background, so it knows you.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's known, so it's tailoring to yourself.
True. Good
It
point.
it is it ethically right that it's made you 120% more productive? Could you, is it ethically right that it's written in a format that maybe, let's say, someone less educated, it makes them look really, really good because you can say make it this like to PhD standard
Yep.
and it will literally get to that PhD standard. And it's interesting because, Harvard, we got taught ethics was such a massive topic. Two things. It's about security of data. Is it learning off you? Are you replacing my job versus are you making me more productive? Are you falsifying my intelligence because you're making me look good? That's probably that's probably the biggest one, right? So what it's going to do, the person that has done a PhD, and I still, people think, they versus someone who hasn't, it's
Yeah.
going to bring these people closer, right? The
Right.
someone who's not gone and done you've always got there's always going to be inherent learnings you've got in your mind that you've learned
Yes.
and principles and those things that they're
Yeah.
so important, and I still believe in those. But there's going to be a point, and I think that makes you stronger because it's all about how you think and how you
Yeah.
deliver, and then really the AI assistants are putting the cream and the cherry on the top by articulating, someone who doesn't speak so well or someone who's
Yes.
dyslexic.
Yeah.
Is it ethically
Yeah.
right that someone who's dyslexic now makes them look good? I think it's actually a really powerful tool. It's
Yeah.
making so, but we did talk about this a hell of a lot, and it was such a massive debate of are you really falsifying? But guess what? Our next, millennium people, they're going to be China. Like
Yeah.
within the last 6 months, the kids, the 6 year old, it's compulsory for them to learn AI. So suddenly now you've got, you know, your bell curve of intelligence or someone sitting a test or understanding something. This bell curve is going to be, it's going to be the standard deviation of people being able to do the same sort of job,
Yeah.
even though they may not be quite, didn't do as well in an exam at university. And
Yeah.
so, and they
Correct.
say they try and they're getting the highest person. And AI's closed this gap tremendously. I mean, I look at
Yeah.
my
Nice.
daughter who's a sophomore, second year, and she's using AI all the time to help. And they're allowed to now. Is that ethically right? So Harvard go, you cannot use ChatGPT outside, outside the world, but you can use our ChatGPT internally. So now
Right.
everyone is equal. So as long as everyone is on the equal platform that everyone's able to use it, then it comes down to how well you can use it.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so yeah, I sort of hope I answered that question, but it's
Yeah.
a big,
No.
big, it's going to be a moving target. Is it going to be
Yeah.
accepted that here's the thing, right? You've got a problem. And I want to try to keep the education.
Yep.
I've got to deliver a speech. I've got to deliver a training message. And I don't know the topic as well as I should,
Right.
or there's new research. And I go, please, please, all right, please, can you, Mr. Agent, build me an agent? So I'm going to say agent at this time that can research this particular topic and I need it to be able to, surf the net and bring in the citations and summarize it as if I'm, at Harvard, uh, in the same format that they would expect. There's
Yep.
today, right now, there's agents that can build the agent that's going to do it for you by
Wow.
just literally putting a prompt in to ask it. So that's another new thing since we've talked, is that like deeplearning.ai is literally prompting an agent to write code to build an agent for what you need. So
Yep.
imagine that, where that if you get to AGI, where it's getting so intelligent that it can literally go and solve. AGI can actually helps invent things. Like it gets to that
Yep.
intelligence, right? Versus being able to just be an assistant, and a very,
Yep.
very good one. I think the other thing too, though, what would you think about ethically where it's helping someone with Alzheimer's
Yeah.
that has really got a problem that is actually making that person, like Craig and I are helping us, sorry, the dogs in the background, but Craig and I are helping a startup. He's a professor of 20 years at Harvard. They He studied memory, he's lectured on memory, and he's got another guy who's 15 years in Harvard, and he's building an application that you'll never forget anything, and it's zero grounded. And Craig and I are helping this. He's leaving his professor, being a professor for all these years. He's leaving to get this company going, and so literally um, it grabs all of your memories, your photos, and everything like that. They've done an incredibly good job on encryption, and it gets your life and your all of your memories and everything you've got, and the ability to be in a meeting and listen, and you'll never forget that, Fletcher and Dean had this conversation, on this date, and what did we talk about, 10 years time, and so that type of technology is like uses these, this new models and memories and neural networks. Boy, oh boy, that's powerful. So now suddenly you will never forget something, and it'll be there for you to assist. And they're going to
Nice.
focus on the health. For people 55 and 56, that's when people start losing memory if they're not keeping themselves fit. And people with Alzheimer's, I mean, they're going to solve for that really well. And so that if you go, I don't know where I put. Oh, I know exactly where it is. Boom, boom, boom. That's kind of cool. So and so I think about the good of what AI is going to be doing versus ethically, it's making someone look good when they're
Yeah.
probably not that as intelligent, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But then, that's where it's going. I just think this wave is not going to stop.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not going to
Definitely.
stop. It's not going to
No.
stop. And there'll
And
be a
like you said, the fact that what 6-year-olds are learning it, we're going to be left behind, right? If we don't.
Yep. And they, it's funny because I remember, and I think I mentioned it last time, that businesses that don't, or even educators that don't adopt AI, you know, they're going to be up to 35% less efficient to the
Yeah.
companies that do. So picture the product that Craig and I are building in SEO. It feels like if someone's using that, like the health and safety person, to save lives and limbs, and this whole business started because someone died,
Yeah. Right.
and someone went, I want to solve for this, using the current camera technology that's in these distribution centers and so on. But the fact is, to uh, sorry, I was lost my train of thought for a second. The Where was I going to go with that? Where
Saving
was I going?
lives.
Sorry.
Saving lives. Well,
Oh
the
yeah,
fact that
no,
we
no, no,
can
no, no. Where was it?
be efficient.
Oh yeah, no, that's right. I know exactly what it was. Um,
Yep.
so see, need the memory. No, but the point is that the way we're building it, that person using that product, it's gonna feel like there's six people working for that person compiling that information, six or seven
Yep.
people, and they're the assistants that do specialized things. And I just think that that's the big thing that is that people are, if that's what's going to happen, you're going to be up against a small startup that's got 10, 15 people that is going to look like, if they design their whole setup, that they've got 50 or 100 people or
Yeah.
even more, and are going to be able to compete against the big people. And so
Yeah.
it's like, if you're going to push this under the rug and ignore it and go, oh wait, and it's just happening so much faster.
Yeah.
The reasoning, so the big thing that since you and I've talked again, reasoning models, so that they have a chance instead of what they call zero shot, which means they just have their first go at trying to based on the memory they've been trained on, data corpus of data they've been trained on. They have reasoning. They can think and go, oh, actually, that's not right. I need to go through. And those reasoning models um, are developing and coming out. Like DeepSeek did one, it's open source. That's incredible. And they're just now coming out ones that even don't have deep reasoning, uh, and getting better and better and better. So the techniques are just getting incredibly incredible. I mean, really good, incredible. And
And and
yeah,
so, Dean, if I was a facilitator, trainer, I mean,
mhm.
and I want to find my own assistant,
Yeah,
is there a certain website? Is there blogs I should follow? How do I make it easy for myself? I mean, obviously, I
yeah,
get an assistant to do it for me.
yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think if you look at all the main like OpenAI, they came out with they had a product, they had a they had a project recently. So really, Crew AI came out with the first real, I would call them agentic framework. So, something that could assist you, right?
Yep.
And Lang Chain, they've done with their Lang Graph, that is more sophisticated. Like you need to be a bit of a coder. Crew AI is more slightly more low code, but still you need to know. And now suddenly OpenAI goes, whoa, 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 whoa. We need to keep up with these people. OpenAI, and of course Microsoft support their product so well. They're now getting that incorporated, and I would call it the closest to low code, no code. And there's product out there that literally can go. I need to put a memory in place. I need to put documentation stored. And I think, right now, to me, OpenAI, the Olamas, that Meta, that's making it all open source, so that's free. That's kind of cool. But I mean, right now I use Olama. So if I on my local computer, if I want to do big deep reasoning and using that model, and I want to build an agent, I'll use that. I've used Crew AI, Claude. Claude has a good one, but so that's a
Yep.
pretty from Anthropic. And then of course the OpenAI, and I mean Gemini 2.5 that's come out from Google, that's getting really clever. And then there's some sort of low code ones that are Accio. I think you remember them. They presented to us. There's a bunch like that are sort of what I call point and click. So you can
Yep.
go, I need to I need to put my documents into this. So you point and click into it and add your documents, and I need to embed it. So it means it puts it in numbers, so it tokenizes it, chunks it up, and that sort of stuff. So there's low code; those ones are getting more and more and more out there. So I'm absolutely convinced that there's going to be more of those low code ones,
Yep.
that you literally the educators can grab.
Yep.
And yeah, I could easily give you a list, but I remember AKKIO, Flowwise, they've done some really cool stuff. Um, and then OpenAI is going, hey, we're jumping on this bandwagon.
Yeah, and I guess in that, because what I try and do is spend at least an hour a week. I know it doesn't sound much, but going right, what do I need to know? And I just listen to a few podcasts, and
Yeah,
again, just trying to educate myself. So I
yeah,
guess would that be the best thing to
yeah.
do? Is it
It is. I do that. I do an hour a day.
okay?
I
Okay.
do an hour a day. I mean, like I said, it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert. I'm
Yep.
probably at seven.
Yep.
And I look at it like a job in the sense I'm fascinated with it. And two, from a business sense, I think it's going to make a real difference to our
Yep.
customers because
Yep.
we're educating them. They don't know. it's only 1% of the world really know AI. So
Yeah,
we've got to
sure.
realize this is the pointy stuff. We're
Yep.
still so early.
Yep.
So people don't shouldn't beat themselves up thinking I'm falling way behind, I'm falling way behind. But
Yep.
in a few years' time, if you just ignored it, you're going to. But I mean, there's really good. I listen to, these ones. There's a grid one, grid AI. There's a guy that I love him. I literally YouTube this. What's his name? He does really really good. Um, I mean, I literally, as I subscribe to YouTube,
Yep.
and I have these, from agents to say to AGI to um, some tooling or whatever. And I store those in literally inside the videos I want. I'll save them, download them, watch them on the
Yep.
plane and stuff like that. But I'm just looking to see if he's on here. But there is some very, 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 very good. I will generally give you three or four.
Yeah.
Um,
Perfect.
there's a guy, David, someone I love what he's doing.
Cool.
Um,
Awesome.
yeah, and also, golly gosh, Microsoft and AWS we're NVIDIA partners as well. So they've got incredibly good documentation and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's what I would do. I
No, that's
think,
cool. Thank you.
yeah, yeah,
No, perfect. Well, and I know you need to go, so look, really appreciate your time. If yeah, and we'll get those links and perfect.
yeah.
And
Let
I'll
me do that. I'll grab say 4 or 5 that I use that I go to, and I just really good. This is really good ones that to be honest, they just keep you update with what's coming out, who's the better models and why and stuff like that. And and
yeah, yeah,
uh, and some of the multimodals, which you want to be able to look at video, text. Multimodal for educators is pretty important because you're looking at text, you're looking at photos and structured and unstructured data, essentially. So your unstructured is going to be your typing, and so on and so forth. But like I said, the techniques of why these models are getting better and better are just incredible, man. Like they're doing this reinforcement learning, and that's why these models are getting so good. Because and they're doing some group of experts and stuff like you can geek out forever, but they're just getting better and better and better. It's a bit like you're tuning up a plane. They're just getting
yeah,
better parts, better components, and go further. It's these models are just being the context windows are getting bigger, so you can put books in and go, please interpret this book for me. So as
yeah,
for an educator, you can get a whole freaking books, and chuck it in and have it vectorized. So it's now all beautifully organized and stored.
yeah,
And then you can retrieve it and ask any question. And imagine that, like literally any question, because they have memory and we lose our memory and they don't. So that's kind
yeah,
of stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, good
But
point.
hopefully that sort of gave you some insights.
Yeah, no, perfect.